Hello everyone, and welcome to this very first development log on this fan game that I've been making called Ocarina of Time 2. That's the prototype name right now. I'm also thinking about Shadows of the Future and a couple of other titles which I can't even remember off the top of my head. But anyway, this idea originated from a fan fiction contest and an idea that I had. Zelda Informer was having a fanfiction contest a couple of years back, and I entered in my thing, and it was supposed to be the story of there's commotion going down. Link comes in for the end for the day, hoping to get a good night's rest. But whenever there's commotion outside, he realizes that he may not be able to get any rest that night. Anyway, my idea was that there's a bunch of gossip and arguing going outside, and then Link goes down to investigate, and then he finds out that Hyrule Castle is under attack and that there's a war going on. This is supposed to take 4 years after the events of Ocarina of Time. So, Ganondorf is broken out of prison somehow, and he's taking his armies, he's amassed his armies, and he is attacking Hyrule Castle in hopes to raze it down to the ground and build his own empire, take over Hyrule, and all that. But anyway, Link then takes off to go to the rescue of Hyrule, and then he arrives and there's armies massed outside of Hyrule Castle, and he's basically just too late to do anything. Well, anyway, he goes in to fight the armies, restores hope and spirit to all the soldiers fighting. And then the king realizes that this is the kid who warned him about Ganondorf's treachery 4 years ago, and then he asks him to go and take Zelda to safety. So Link takes Zelda to safety in Kokiri because the armies are too big, too massive for Link to take on his own. And that's where I'm at in the story so far. I ended up winning that fanfiction contest, and here I am today. Just working on this idea right now. So, I guess the first place to start would be to show you the model that I've been working on for Link. This model, it has 1,224 vertices, 2,299 tries. So this is a fairly low poly model. Most models nowadays get up from 30,000 all the way up to, I think, 70,000 tries. So this is going to be a very low poly model. And the reason for that is that I wanted this game to have sort of the feel and nostalgia of the original N64 game. So I didn't want it to have any fancy graphics, but to have like almost the charm of the original, if you'll say. One of the reasons that this model is a lot more high poly is okay, I'll just stop right there. This model is not quite as low poly as the original model for the N64. As you can see, the original Young Link model was 471 vertices and 785 tries. So this is quite significantly lower poly than the one that I have right here. And the reason why mine is slightly higher poly is because, for one, all the fingers are modeled out. As you can see with this one, the fingers aren't even modeled out. They're kind of like ball hands. And then another reason is because of the fact that the clothes, the boots, and the hair is all removable. Whereas on the original model, all of that was attached together. You could not remove those key elements from Link. So this model is going to be a lot more improvised, and it's going to basically be a blueprint for a Link that you can dress in a lot more varieties of clothes, and hopefully you might even be able to style his hair as it's completely removable. So I'll see how far I can get with that. This game, I decided a long time ago, I'm going to develop it in Unreal Engine 4 because it has a fantastic lighting system and has really good physics that work for a Zelda game. Now, I haven't done any work on this game in Unreal Engine 4 yet, but eventually I'm going to be transferring this model over to Unreal Engine 4 so you can all get a look at that. And once I animate it, you'll be able to see all the animations and such. I'm just going to try and go as creative and unique as I possibly can with it. So, I'll just give you a preview of what I've gotten so far. This is the original hero shield from Majora's Mask. That's the original model and the original texture, so that is the original right there. And then all the other models, like the tunic, the hair, the body, the boots, all of that was completely modeled from scratch by me. And all the textures right here are completely done from scratch as well. I did not get these textures anywhere off the internet. They were completely modeled by me. And then the only thing that doesn't have any textures right now are the boots, but I eventually hope to get textures on that. And let's just get a closer look at the weapons right here. Right here I have the shield. And I have the sword right here. This sword, it isn't the Kokiri sword, because this sword is actually a longer sword, which Link is going to be using because he kind of outgrew the Kokiri sword, because this is supposed to be 4 years into the future, so the Kokiri sword would be more like a knife. And right here you can see kind of like the reflection right here of the sword. So I wanted Link to be able to have kind of like a longer sword for the sake of the fact that he's supposed to be older now. And oh, so let's see, what else can I show you right here? The world. Yes, the world. The world of this game that I'm making is actually going to be very, very close to the original Ocarina of Time. I'm going to try and make it as close to the original as I can. So I'm trying to use as much of the original assets as I can. Like right here, you have Hyrule Field, so I'm going to be using that in this game to kind of like give you a nostalgia trip and kind of expand the world, if you may. So yeah, I'm going to try and do that. And another thing that I wanted to do with this is that I didn't want there to be any loading screens. So this overworld is going to be very similar to Breath of the Wild, where you just seamlessly go from location to location and from town to town. Without having to worry about any loading screens. So, one of those things is that I'm going to have to model a lot of the empty areas here. Like, for example, Lon Lon Ranch, that was a completely separate area from Hyrule Field, so I'm having to model the interior of Lon Lon Ranch. As you can see right here, I got a pretty good start on it, but I've still got a little bit to go, which you'll probably see me do that here in a little bit. Oh, but anyway, I need to model Broken Rubble, and basically try to model where Lon Lon Ranch used to be and make it look as though it's been completely destroyed because of Ganondorf's armies that amassed from Gerudo Desert, which is right over here. And one of the problems I'm going to have is making sure that sections don't interlocked with each other. Like, they don't cross over with each other where they're not supposed to. For example, the developers were pretty good about where they put all their locations. Like, here's the path to Lake Hylia, here's Gerudo Valley, so the river's supposed to be somewhere right over here to where the river can go all the way to Lake Hylia. But I've actually increased the size of this so that it's a lot bigger, and here I'll show you exactly the scale of it. Right here I have the Link model that I have, and this is the scale of what Hyrule Field is going to be essentially in the game. So it's going to be quite a massive thing. As you can see, the trees aren't anywhere in the game, and I'm not exactly using the original textures from the original Nintendo 64 of Hyrule Field, because the original textures for the original Hyrule Field, they're not compatible with any rendering software that I know of right now. Because some reason, the engine that they used for Ocarina of Time was able to make those textures work. So unless I figure out exactly how to make those textures work in current rendering software that we have today, I'm just going to be sticking with the Nintendo 3DS version of Ocarina of Time's textures, because it doesn't look bad. It looks very close to the original, as you can see here in rendered mode. So it's not too big of an issue, but it would have been nice to use the original textures, but I'm not going to be able to. So what I want to do is make this truly a real sequel to Ocarina of Time, not just in terms of story, but in terms of graphics as well. Make it feel like the original Ocarina of Time, and I'm going to be extending the world as well. Like right here I have like this little area that leads up to Kakiri Forest from Hyrule Field. This is going to be highly populated with trees, and once I put it into the game engine, because the trees, as you know, they have to be animated, and I have to use basically particle effects in order to populate the world with trees. So guess I'll show you a little bit more about Link. This is going to be his outfit that he's going to be using in the game whenever he first starts out, because of course he's older, so he would have outgrown his old tunic. But eventually he'll get a new one. But whenever he starts out, he's going to have a different grayish bluish tunic to start out with, just to prove that he's much older and outgrew all of his old clothes. And that just about concludes this part. I wanted to make it about 15 minutes long so that it didn't drag out too long for everyone, and I wanted to make sure that I was covering a lot of things. But anyway, I guess that's all, and in the next part I'll show you a little bit on Zelda. But before I go, I'll show you exactly how the model is going to look whenever it gets into high quality and Unreal Engine 4, so it's going to look something like that, but not exactly. So I guess that's about it. Be sure to leave a like on this video, and you don't have to subscribe, because this is boring stuff right here. This is not the kind of stuff that you want to see in your feed every day, because this is a very long process. Game development is a very long process. You don't want to waste your time binge watching game development, because you'll probably never be a game developer yourself, because this takes a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of skills. Like right here you can see modeling, texturing, proportion sizes. There's just a lot that goes into game development, and making sure everything is right up to scale, modeling environments and worlds and such. So just don't subscribe. I mean, you can check in anytime you want, but subscribing is probably not the best thing, because this is going to take a long time. Anyway, feel free to leave any questions you have in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them in the next video. In the next video, I'll show you a little bit on what I've been doing with Zelda and her look and her model. And I guess that'll be all for now. I guess I'll see you all later, and you all have a great day. Bye.